These light bulbs are making your home look old, dirty, and cheap. And man, those fluorescent lights, those are driving you insane with that flickering, that buzzing, and that awful yellow light. And today I have a $20 fix that's going to make your home look new and more modern. Do you ever walk into a home that feels cold and sterile or dark and dingy? Well, most of the time, it's the lighting. And that wrong light bulb can ruin the look of your paint, your flooring, your cabinets, and even make a clean home feel dirty. And yes, through the years, I've even made these mistakes when I'm flipping houses, so you're not alone. So anyway, get a pen and paper out and let's get to it. Now, first, let's start out with something that I never even cared to consider all through the years, but the color temperature. Now on the lights, it's measured in what's called kelvins, and it tells you whether that light is warm or if it's cool. For instance, a light that has a 2700 Kelvin is a warm white, soft, cozy glow, more like those old school incandescent bulbs. And say you see a light with 3000 Kelvins, well, that's more of a soft white, still warm, but cleaner and a little brighter, but just not overboard. And when you step up to say a 4000 Kelvin, well, that delivers a neutral white, more balanced, and it's better for bathrooms and for kitchens. And then if you really want light, a 5000 Kelvin, I mean, wow, those are bright, it's crisp, and it can actually feel harsh if you use that light in the wrong place. And also you want to keep in mind, avoid mixing all these color temps all in the same space, as it'll make the room feel chaotic and mismatched, almost like a multiple kind of flooring in a home. So just be careful. Now let's get into the LEDs versus incandescent and those good old CFL bulbs. Well, right here we have the good old incandescent bulb, and these are basically gone. But I mean, they were too hot. They weren't energy efficient, and so they have taken them out of circulation for the most part. And then here we have the CFL here, and who remembers these? And who ever had anything good to say about these? I mean, these flicker, they're slow to light up, and they are just really annoying. And back when these came out, I still reverted back to the incandescent bulbs because I just couldn't stand these. And now we're using LEDs similar to this fixture that I have, and these lights, they'll last up to 10 years, I guess. I've had some barely make it to 5. Also, these use 80% less energy, and there are a ton of styles and temperatures. On the back of these lights, even the temperatures, as you can see, you can adjust these to the kelvins that I had just gone over. And another thing, most of these lights now are dimmable, but you just want to check the box. For instance, I have these light bulbs here, these 60 watt replacement bulbs, 800 lumens, and right there it says they are dimmable. So you always want to make sure that you get the dimmable bulbs. And yes, they also make LED bulbs that look like the vintage Edison bulbs too. So you can keep that charm without the heat. Another one they came out with to replace those nasty fluorescent bulbs that hum and that bad light are these, and they can be switched to whatever kelvins you want right here. These work great as well. I think these are $20 for a box of 2, and they make a huge difference. I mean, let's face it, those older homes, they weren't built for today's lighting needs at all. And you may not have any overhead lighting. You may only have that one socket behind the couch to plug a lamp in. And here is how you can fix that without rewiring your whole house. First off, you can go get some plug-in sconces. You can also get some wall-mounted lights, and they still look classy, and there's no electrician required for those. And another thing you can do, go get some smart plugs. They actually turn any lamp into a remote control light. And it's great for people that have mobility issues, and it's such a great feature to have in your home. Now let's talk about brightness and wattage. First thing you want to do is stop shopping by watts. And I'm guilty of this too. And just remember that watts, it measures energy use and not the brightness. What you want to look for on the bulb are the lumens. And for instance, let's say a 40 watt bulb, and that bulb may have 450 lumens for brightness. And those kind of bulbs are good for some accent lighting in hallways. And then you have 60 watt bulbs with 800 lumens, and I recommend those for lamps and bedrooms. And then you step up even more for a 75 watt, say it has 1100 lumens. Well, that's good for living rooms and kitchens. And those 100 watt bulbs with say 1600 lumens. And again, those are for heavy spaces and like garages and so forth. And hey, if your home still feels dark, just try using a bulb with higher lumens before you go out and you spend hundreds or thousands of dollars rewiring or putting in new light fixtures. Now, I just want to go through room by room here, give you a little bit of a guide, but let's go to the living room. And let's just say in there, usually it's recommended a 2700 Kelvin bulb with say 800 to 1100 lumens for that room. And you'll want dimmable bulbs here. That way you can really dial that in. And again, if the brightness isn't enough, you can always step it up, but you just don't want to, again, get too much of brightness in there. And again, I know this is going to vary on the size of your rooms. Now in the bedrooms, you're going to want to keep it warm. So again, 2700 kelvins, and the rule of thumb is 10 to 20 lumens per square foot. And usually medium-sized rooms, you're looking at around 1,000 to 2,000 lumens for the bulbs for the bedrooms. Well, let's go to the important room, the kitchen. Now, you don't want to be cutting your finger off, and you want it bright, but not blue. So you want to go for 3,000 to 4,000 Kelvin max. And again, depending on the size, and you're probably going to want around a 4,000 to 8,000 lumen bulb. Again, all on preference in the size of the kitchen. But again, you just don't want to overdo it so you feel like you're in a hospital room either. So just, there's a fine line there once you get over, I think, over the 4,000 Kelvin bulbs. And you're probably going to want 1,000 lumen to 2,000 lumens for tasks like makeup and shaving. Now your master bedrooms, they may need 2,500 to 3,500 lumens in that bulb. And also for the fixtures around the mirrors, you're going to want frosted or indirect lighting around those mirrors just to avoid a bunch of shadows. Now that entry or hallway, I'd recommend about a 2,700 to 3,000 kelvins for that. Again, depending on the size of that. 450 to 800 lumens is a good choice to use in those areas. And again, that's all going to be a case by case on the size of your room and also your preference. By the way, this isn't a set rule. I'm just giving you on average what the recommendations are and what I have used in my projects. Now in that garage or basement, a 5,000 Kelvin is a good light with 300 lumens per square foot as a measurement for those areas, just to give you what type of lumens you're going to need for those areas. But again, those areas require a lot more lighting, and it makes sense to have them real bright. And I know this sounds obvious, but when I walk into homes where the problem isn't the lighting, but it is actually the dust. I mean, the paper lamp shades and so forth, just use a dry microfiber cloth and wipe those things off. And the glass shades, get some Windex and a paper towel and wipe those good. Now let's avoid the biggest lighting fails that I see all the time. That's mixing warm and cool bulbs in the same room. I mean, it looks like a hospital on one side and a candlelit dinner on the other. And then too dim for the room makes even clean homes look grungy. So anyway, here's a cheat sheet for the next time that you're buying bulbs. We'll cover the room, the recommended lighting, and the rough cost per bulb. And again, this is just average costs I've seen out there and what I've experienced. But in the living room, a 2700 Kelvin LED dimmable per bulb, you're probably looking at $2 to $4 a bulb. And again, it just depends where you're looking. For the kitchen, a 3000 Kelvin LED, we're probably talking 800 to 1100 lumens for that. And you're probably looking at about $3 to $5 a bulb. In the bathroom, a 4,000 Kelvin frosted LED, 800 lumens, we're probably about $4 to $6 a bulb for that. In the garage, a 5,000 Kelvin LED tube or panel light, $5 to $10 a piece. But no matter what, you need to stick with the same brand just so you can get that consistent lighting throughout. Now, you don't have to change fixtures, just the bulb, and it'll make a massive difference, especially in your older home, to give it much more lighting. Now, light bulbs are the most overlooked home upgrade, yet they affect everything. Paint colors, photos, first impressions, even how big or clean your space feels. So next time your room feels off, maybe don't blame it on the paint or the furniture. Maybe first start with the bulbs. And hey, I hope this all was helpful information. And if so, please share it with somebody you think could benefit from it. And also, if you need help with this or anything real estate related, my contact links down below. I'd love to speak to you. Or I have a network of professionals throughout the country I can set you up with. And also, everything that I do, I donate part of my commissions to my rescue dog organizations. And if you'd like to contribute, since maybe you can't come to Colorado and get a dog, I have a link down below. You can donate to help them out as well. And until next time, stay tuned for these videos that are coming up next.